Hello, hello. It is May. It is EDS Awareness Month, and this is part 2 of hashtag This Is My EDS, where we will be discussing diagnosis and medical environments. How long did diagnosis/self-diagnosis take? When and how were you ultimately diagnosed? If it were possible for me to be diagnosed at birth, then it took doctors 26 years to figure it out. But as for when I started to actively seek diagnosis and eventually learning about EDS and asking to be tested only to be dismissed and laughed at, that process took me about 3 years. And I pretty much knew I had EDS a full year before I was officially diagnosed, which I only got because of the privilege of having enough money to be tested for it. Ultimately, I was diagnosed by a geneticist via a chromosome blood test where they found 3 chromosome variants, one of them being COL5A1, which is classical Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. What was your emotional reaction when you were diagnosed or self-diagnosed? It was sort of anticlimactic. Kind of felt like when you're arguing with somebody and I'm a Leo, so sometimes my temper goes a little awry, and you can be screaming, fighting, pushing, and then finally the person says, "You're right." And then you want to keep going, and then it just it feels like you were a blazing fire and someone just put you out. I'd gotten so used to fighting in doctor spaces, to leaving doctor spaces with no answers. And it just stunned me. My geneticist sort of mentioned it and kept going, but I stopped hearing her. And I had to interrupt her and say, "Wait, so it's official? I have EDS?" And she said, "Oh, yes, definitely. You for sure have Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome." And from there, my reaction was just like, now what? She said what was great about the diagnosis was that it didn't really mean anything, and that I would likely have a long life. Which kind of bothered me, because that was either her sugarcoating it, or she didn't realize how bad EDS can get, no matter which type you have. She was partially correct. It is possible to have EDS and live a relatively normal life with just occasional pains, occasional injuries, so infrequent that it doesn't seem abnormal or something that you need to look into. That was pretty much my life up until I turned 23. And then my feet collapsed, and my knees got weak, and my SI joint went all out of whack, and my joints all over my body basically felt like Jenga pieces that were just falling apart all over the place. And that, I feel, is actually somewhere in the middle of all the possible things that can happen in time with EDS. EDS has taken away a lot of my physical abilities, and made me sick on a daily basis, battling dizziness and nausea, fatigue, sleep disorders, fainting spells, difficulty breathing, heart weakness, tachycardia, and of course, chronic pain. However, I'm surviving currently without professional help, which is a privilege that I don't take lightly. To be in that place where I can live, I can survive, I know that more than likely I will wake up tomorrow morning without the aid of doctors or medicine. Not everyone can say that. Not everyone with Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome can say that. I don't know for how long I'll be able to say that, but that's where I'm at right now. Would I benefit from medicine and treatment? Hell yeah. If I could manage my pain, my fatigue, my sleep disorders, my dysautonomia, and my tachycardic issues, my life would look a whole lot different than what it looks like right now. But none of those things are going to kill me tonight. So, I can survive it. That's the name of the game. I think most people within the EDS community, among our inside jokes about how doctors just don't get it, have seen how bad EDS can get just from communicating and watching one another. We've seen how people can die by the hands of EDS because EDS caused specific complications that lead to death. Whether it's a burst blood vessel, internal bleeding, an aneurysm, a heart complication, maybe your lungs give up. One person specifically, their neck had become so hypermobile that even the slightest gesture, they were at risk of causing themselves paralysis or death by a form of decapitation. So they were bedbound, absolutely unable to move. Then, of course, some conditions are manageable. But if you don't have economic access or access at all to medical care, those things can be fatal as well. It's a wide spectrum. I told y'all. EDS can be very mild, to the point you don't even notice anything is wrong. But it can also be very severe. And mild can become severe because EDS is degenerative. And the general consensus is that the older you get, the worse your health becomes. That's the truth I wish I heard. I know probably a lot of people wouldn't want to hear that when they first get told that they have EDS. But I really would rather that than perpetuate this idea that EDS is a harmless condition, because it isn't. When did you first start experiencing symptoms, and when did you acknowledge that they were symptoms? I guess mild symptoms since I was little. Around age 1, the doctors noticed that I was walking bow-legged. Around age 5 or 6, I was sitting in front of the television and randomly my eyes went cross and got stuck that way, and I had double vision for quite some time. Age 13, I was dealing with chronic back pain that was so bad I would instinctively slam my back into the floor, just trying desperately to get some relief. Local anesthesia would not work for me at the dentist's office. I had fainting scares after showers and baths. And no, so far I will not give up hot baths because those are one of the only things that give me even the mildest form of pain relief. I just have to fight my body wanting to faint. every time. Though I was never alarmingly hypermobile, doing splits or putting my feet behind my head or anything like that. It was always in my fingers most of the time, and my knees, bending backwards. And these were hard things to notice as abnormal. Being able to touch my palms to the ground was like the one impressive thing that I could do in PE. And who knew, right? It's a symptom. And I constantly got comments about how incredibly soft my skin was by anyone who made contact. And, yep, that's a symptom too. I didn't know, and I had no way of knowing that these were all symptoms until I had to become my own health advocate and fight to seek diagnosis. After several doctors, they told me nothing was wrong with me. So, not until I guess I was 24 did I start seeing my symptoms for what they were and start learning and noticing more. My flat feet, my hammer toes, my struggles with local anesthesia, my tachycardia, my pulmonary issues, all of which was just once upon a time called anxiety, until I learned more about it. My vision problems, my hearing loss, the list goes on.